Mike. Mike on the mic.
That Emily.
Classic
Dude,
Emily story.
What a good story.
Classic
Thanks
Emily.
for sharing, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, well, everyone, thanks for joining us. It's Mike on the mic, and we are ready to rumble. We did just record. Mike had to go run real quick, get in that Kibler school line, pick up the children, and then I took a nap, and then we actually, I don't know if you do this. Do you ever do this where you feel like you've got a big day tomorrow, and so you have to you make sure that maybe you brought your laptop home and you've set your clothes out, you've really pieced together your next day on how it's going to look perfectly. You ever done that before? Or do you do that every day?
Yeah, kind of every day.
We had the board members in tomorrow, and so I already have my clothes. I can't wear jeans and it's polo. It's got to be slacks and all that. So I've kind of I have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
I mean, this is kind of casual.
That's what you do every day. But I mean,
there are times
extra?
like if I have I'm going to pitch something to someone who's really really high up in the company, then I'll make sure hey, I like this suit better than this one,
right,
or that kind of thing. But most of the time it's just in the morning, got my dry cleaning, pull out a shirt, pull out pants, go.
Get that microphone to your face.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Level's not good enough there? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
All right, so we did that. We pieced together we outlined this a little bit more than we normally do.
Right.
Actually,
This podcast you're
this
listening to
episode
right now.
completely more
Right
than
now.
we've ever done.
Ever.
100% more.
100% more goodness.
So we're going to warm up real quick, do some rapid fire warm-ups. We did just kind of, again, talk about that Kobe incident, and then we've also had other things in the news where there have been some air-type catastrophes, which make you think, is flying worth it? Does it scare you a little bit more?
Yeah.
Does it?
Well, in my line of work, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
A couple tragedies last year that really shaped kind of the aerospace industry as it's going to be seen from this point forward.
Uh-huh.
Also, a passenger plane shot down by a missile.
Right.
I mean,
you can't really do anything there.
Can't do much there.
That's just...
Put anti-air defense on all of your commercial airplanes. And then the helicopter flying, man, and it's. I mean, obviously it's a lot. People talk about it a lot, but flying still remains the safest way to travel in the world. And so it's weird though. And I think, back to, I just think we know more about things now because how fast news and how far, media can go now on the internet and things. So I think we hear a lot more about it. Still think it's incredibly safe. Well, I know it's incredibly safe. But just been a weird year and a half for air travel.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, back in the day, I had panic attacks when I'd be taking a nap and I'd wake up or if I'd be half asleep, half awake, but I knew what I was doing. I was still flying. I could just picture myself with I don't know, 10 to 15 feet of just stuff between where I'm sitting and then below that is just nothing but just thousands and thousands of feet of air and that's it. And you're just I mean, it creates this illusion that you're kind of still on the ground, even though you're in the air. And your mind can kind of compute where you're it feels solid, and then it starts bouncing a little bit. But no, you're really up in the friggin' air.
I used to be terrified to fly. I mean, up until probably 6 years ago, I just did not like to fly at all. It just wasn't my thing. I just didn't like it. The more I learned about how airplanes are designed and how over-engineered they are, it made me completely feel 100% comfortable.
Yeah.
Nothing will cure you saying, hey, get on this plane for 11 hours to Shanghai.
Right.
And you have to do, you have to do that, 11 times in a year, and you just kind of get used to it. But Dude, there's the way that they're designed, the way that they're tested, the way that they're tested beyond any limit they'll ever see in commercial service. Like it literally, if you were to see the static fatigue and flight tests these things go through, you would not be worried to fly at all.
Well,
at all.
Yeah, I'm still afraid.
Well, I mean, you're 37,000 feet up in the air with a foot of material around you,
and when you start hitting that turbulence, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have a little bit of turbulence. Oh, everyone, please put those." And you're just like, "Whoa, where?" Like you entered some mosh pit, getting jumped. Okay, we just experienced a little bit of turbulence,
a little bit of rough air,
little rough air, little bumps, but we're okay now, right? Yeah. We're awake. We're awake, right? We're awake.
Well, that's the thing too with the technology now. That again, like that freaks you out. You're like, "Oh my, this plane's gonna snap in half." If you see if you see what they do to these airplanes when they test them, it is insane.
Just smash cars into them.
They make an airplane to break. Like, how far can we stretch? Can we push this thing before it breaks?
Bend.
So like if you go online, look at YouTube, look at like the 787 wing test, where they literally bend these wings up to where they're almost touching each other before they finally snap.
Oh, really?
Like, so you can literally see how much give and how engineered these planes are to withstand that kind of.
Then the wobble test.
Wow. Dude, they put it through cycles like it's been in service for 40 years, and just fatigue test it over and over and over again. It's pretty amazing, the engineering process.
Wow.
But it would make you feel 100% safe flying.
Okay.
Commercial airliner.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You mentioned Shanghai, so we're going to jump. Actually, we're going to jump around.
Jump it.
Shanghai, China, right? Is that China?
Yes.
How do you say it? Is it the coronavirus?
Coronavirus, yeah.
Or is it Cordova?
Corona. And a Cornucopia virus? The coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, out of Wuhan, China.
And where does this? Do you know much about it? You're my Chinese expert. Just so you know,
you're Asia expert.
Yeah, that's exactly who you are. So I hope you. Yeah. Where does it come from?
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to church it up a little bit. It's like, you know what?
It's legit
I've
scary.
had some Coronas in my life. I could probably handle that.
Dude, it's legit scary. I think it's one of those things where, so Wuhan, China, from my understanding, well, I know where Wuhan is. It's just out of Shanghai.
Yeah.
And that's where one of China's main virus centers are, where they do what we do here at CDC and stuff. So they're engineering viruses and things there. And I think what scares, what I think is a little bit more scary to me than maybe the media is letting us know is, we don't know what this is exactly, and we know death rates have doubled in China from it, and it's Europe, for example, everybody who comes in on a flight from China is tested before they get off the airplane by guys in suits. They are not playing around with it in Europe. And in the U.S., bring him in. It'll be all right.
Well, we're used to that.
Yeah. I don't know.
We don't need a wall. Who needs a wall?
Dude.
We don't need.
I don't know. It's a little bit more scary than I think they're letting on.
And then I saw something where 1720s, 1820s, 1920s, plague, and now we're hitting 2020, and now it's like we're having a plague.
I hope technology's gotten far enough along where we're able to combat another plague at this point. But who knows, man? I mean, we've encountered things that we can't.
What's the Bill Gates Foundation? Do we know what that is?
The Gates Foundation?
Yeah. What is that? What does it do? You put money towards it. What do they do? They spend money on school and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, they say that the Gates Foundation can single handedly stop the malaria outbreaks over in Africa and stuff. They are.
But I also know he said that we're very overpopulated. And so I wonder
if you going down this theory about Bill Gates?
Half of Bill Gates goes, you know what? Yeah,
Thanos.
We're gonna do some malaria curing over here. And the other thing is, we're gonna start engineering some viruses, and we're gonna get those out to the public. So we need to start wiping these people.
So are you saying that Bill Gates is Thanos?
He is.
He's Thanos. He just snapped.
He snaps, and he's curing them over here.
Coronavirus.
And then you know what? He was sitting on the couch watching a game, drinking a Corona, and he's like, you know what? Hey,
it's time.
We're going to name it the coronavirus.
What was that movie, The Kingsman? They came out with the same thing. You remember that movie?
No, I haven't seen it. I don't.
You haven't seen?
I'm like, I don't know if you guys know who Mike Martinez is. I'm just like him. I don't watch movies.
It's so fun.
And then all of a sudden you start watching movies.
You ever seen Kingsman? It's old. It's an old movie.
Like 2000.
Samuel Jackson.
17, 16.
Yeah, and Samuel Jackson plays a crazy rich guy who's trying to like kill because or sword player trying to comes up with a scheme with cell phones and
okay.
Yeah.
No,
you should watch it.
I'm gonna watch it probably.
Yeah.
We'll do a 15-minute review. Yeah. So coronavirus scary. Don't know much about it.
No, just know it's scary.
I just know it's scary, which is then leading us to our next rapid fire warm up topic of funeral song. Oh. Do you know what you want played at your funeral? What song do you want? I think we've talked. I can't believe I don't know if we talked about it here before. Maybe we have. Everyone erase your memories, or if it was just we were all out hanging out one night. We're like, what would you play?
It's all a big blur. I would my song, which my kids know in case I go down with my wife.
My dick.
Yeah. On volume 11. No,
nice slow bagpipey.
Just the remix. Oh, would be great. My Way.
Did it my
by Sinatra.
My way. Yeah, I could see that. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Mine's probably just going to be Pharoah Monch. Get the heck out. Addie's going to be pumping.
Same thing. Like just an acoustic version, a nice contemporary version of it, though. Some violins, a cello. Oh, you're coronavirus. Speaking of,
it's a Bud Light virus.
Jeez.
I'm drinking it right now. Sponsored by a Bud Light.
What was it? Bud Light neon
sign behind us, and we're drinking the Bud Light. Yeah. I'm not sponsored by any of these people, but I like to pretend I am. So you guys get yourself a Bud Light. Drink it. Got the game coming up. Actually, this is after all that. We got Valentine's Day coming up.
You gotta get drunk on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. We talk about we're gonna skip one. We're gonna skip a couple. We'll come back to it. But Valentine's Day. We talked about the father-daughter dance. Mm-hmm. We got this thing trending right now. #GirlDad.
Yep.
Kind of came out with the Kobe, him and his daughter, and kind of the relationship they had and being a girl dad. When you are younger, as men, I think typically do, and I think women do this too, but at least you kind of start thinking, how would I be a dad to a boy? How would I be a dad to a girl? But you can relate to the boy a whole lot more. So when you start to become a girl dad, you don't realize how much it kind of like hits you by surprise and how much you enjoy it.
Yep.
You're a girl dad.
I am. Yep. Three girls.
3 girls.
So yeah, it's and like it was mentioned last podcast, watching the videos of how Kobe and his daughters interacted, and things like basketball that brought them close together, and that's the hard part for me. Like when I start watching those, that's when I get like a little teary eyed and choked up because I can relate to it so much.
Oh yeah,
and you're absolutely right. I remember, I had my 2 girls, and then we decided to try for the third because it was going to be a boy. Mm-hmm. And I remember we went and got did the blood test to find out what the sex of the baby was at like 10 weeks. And I remember coming home and Katie had the results and she had read them, and she just handed me the envelope, and I knew. I was like, oh, this is another girl.
Another girl. Yeah.
And like it was that kind of like that first like, well, oh man, and then it was like,
right.
Well, this is actually pretty awesome. Like right. I know what I'm doing. I know what to expect. I know how to handle it. And now like my littlest one is like my little girl now. She's she's cute and keeps me on my toes, and wouldn't do anything different.
And the thing with being a girl dad is that I think it's a lot of the, oh man, I can't do this. Now I can't do that with them. Right. But as we get into, further and further along in life, you can do pretty much there's more sports out there. You can coach sports. You can go, girls are, I think Madden is probably one of my most athletic children. Jacqueline is pretty athletic as well. And so like you're able to do anything you want, and they just want to hang out with you. You're the dad. So it's really nice. It is really cool. I grew up with no sisters, so it's just me and my bro, and I didn't really know any, so I didn't know what I was getting into, but it is good. And then you also start to look forward to like, you know what? More than likely they're going to be married down the road, and I'll get a son at that point kind of thing too. Son-in-law.
So. On that, that's just, I was same thinking, was, football or whatever, and can't do that with them. And now Addie asked for a football for Christmas this year. She gets a football for Christmas, and I'm out throwing passes with her. And she's like, "Do you think I can play football?" I was like, "Yeah,
absolutely,
absolutely." So she's so all that, it just makes you appreciate it so much more. It just and I don't know. I like I said, there's I wouldn't trade what I have now for three boys.
As we look at it, we know Leslie listens to this. Leslie reminds me of Leslie's husband's name,
Brian.
Brian, that's right. Brian, shout out to them. Mm-hmm. And got to meet them with another brother, your brother, and who also has a girl as well. There's also a girl now. Bobby.
Okay, yeah.
When we went and we were moving, we helped move Bobby. Yeah. Kind of the most interesting moving thing I've ever done.
It's classic Bobby, right? Like, so it's the Seahawks divisional round game that day, right? So it's like, we need you to come help move Sunday. So everyone's like, we can do it really early.
Yeah.
None of us can stay late because you all want to go watch the game.
Right. Great excuse to get out of moving, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic excuse. But then like we go to hang out with Bobby, and it's like we get there, and it's like, dude, have you? Nothing's really packed.
Nothing's packed. Like, they still have shelving.
TVs on the wall.
Yeah.
Where you go?
Yeah. And he was more focused when I got there. This is what Bobby was working on. Working on trying to get CBS through his laptop to show onto the TV, while I'm like unloading his daughter's bedroom, like pulling the sheets out, pulling the bedding out, pulling toys and all this stuff. And then he's like, I almost got it, guys. Just a second. I almost got the CBS. So what we do is we finally get that going. We see that the Texans were blowing out the Chiefs like by 3 touchdowns. And we're all staring at this thing going, what in the world is going on?
Yeah.
And
I don't know how that ended.
Yeah. So then obviously they come back. Yeah. So we get to Bobby's new house. We're unloading, and what's he doing? He's in there hooking up his internet. Like, it's like the dude's like the tech support, and we're moving his stuff. And it's like, Bobby, could you like help take some of your stuff from these vehicles and put them either in the vehicle and out of the vehicle?
Oh, yeah.
And he was just all
taking apart his bed. Like, why is this apart, man? It just gets back to that. I think we're at the age where you just got to get a mover.
Oh,
you just got to get a mover.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they had, we can't talk about him. We can't talk about that guy. But he almost
shall not be named.
Yeah. This guy who has a house that he's recently put together. He like texted all of us, and it was the friend test. In fact, you know what? I have permission on this one. Actually, I have permission.
He signed the waiver.
It's in texting, the text land real quick. He said, did I delete it?
Oh, I hope not. That's your one.
Oh, no.
Well, which text chain is on? Like,
we got like a zillion of them. Hold on. Yeah. What's this one? Maybe it was the.
Yeah, it's one of the 100 text chains that go.
Gosh, well, he did. No, maybe it wasn't. Maybe he didn't text it, but maybe he was with me. He's like,
well, you're treading on a really fine line right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know which way you want to take this.
I'm taking it.
Oh, I'm going over. Okay.
Putting it into overdrive.
All right.
He said he did a friend test.
Well, but we didn't know it was a friend test.
We didn't know this.
No idea.
We get this quick text. Hey guys, this weekend we're moving. I need some guys. When you guys can make it.
Yep.
And it's like 12 guys in this text thread. And the immediate thing, moving anybody sucks. Like, It's never fun.
No.
Like, you never like, oh, man, we really, like, bonded.
Yeah. At this point in my life, I get tired from swinging a golf club too much, much less, like, picking up a couch or
for sure.
a dresser or a wardrobe.
And so, so it was like, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Thinking like, okay, I'll put in a few hours. And I even told my kids I was going to bring them over and they were going to help. And hey, guys, we're all going to just kind of pitch in, get this done as fast as we can. And then a couple people were texting in and saying like,
hire mover.
Yeah, hire mover. I remember when KP did his. He'd be like KP. He's smart. He's good. So a few days are going by, and this list is kind of like getting collected. Okay, who's in? All right, we got some names on there. Some people haven't even responded.
Like 4 names out of the 12 that were on there.
Yeah, and then we get this video like Friday or Thursday, like right before, like a few days before. And it was also the Chiefs, or no, it was the NFC. We had that going on too. Niners were playing the Packers, or no, they were playing. Who did the Niners play? They had those games, those Saturday games.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah,
I forget.
Anyway.
But anyway, so like crap, I wanted to see that too. So this dude sends out the video of us walking around, or not him, not us. This nap is really in my head right now. He sends this video of him walking around his old house, and it's completely cleaned out. He's like, did this already. It's already been done.
Yeah.
Moved. And then we didn't have to move.
Right.
And it was the greatest feeling. Like it ruined my weekend, and then it made my weekend.
Yeah, and then he said, this was a friend test.
It was a friend test. And I think one person didn't particularly like that too much. He doesn't really like anything. But then the funny thing is Bearded Jesus. I don't know if he has a nickname. Do we have a nickname? Warren G.
Warren G, yeah.
Warren G, like, as soon as this guy sends out the text that says, it was a friend test, I just wanted to see who would help me move and this and that. He jumps on, hey, I haven't really read through all the text yet. You still need help for moving? just jumped.
So good.
It was awesome. But yeah, no, moving sucked. Bobby didn't have anything that was even put together.
Well, it was, classic Bobby.
Classic Bobby.
Classic Bobby. I love it.
Yeah. With classic Bobby, lots of stuff going on in the political realm. With Bobby kind of being that person kind of updates you with these things he posts out on Facebook. I think you initially deleted your Facebook because you're like, oh, my work and my family. And like, I just kind of don't want my life out there. I now realize you just didn't want to. You just didn't want to see Bobby's posts anymore.
I love Bobby, but I unfollowed Bobby long before that.
So you're like, and then Bobby found out, like, I deleted it.
Yeah,
I deleted it.
It's completely gone. I don't know what happened. Just one day, account was deleted. Yeah, no, that's one thing. Like, I can't talk to him about it.
Yeah,
very, very, very well.
That's the thing where you've learned.
We just don't talk about it.
Just like we've learned about. To always talk about Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah,
the greatest.
He's the worst quarterback in
the greatest quarterback in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Trump impeachment going on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they had that video of Biden saying, "Hey, yeah, I told that son of a bitch." That's what the Republicans were really touting the other day. Hey, come on now. Yeah. Biden's did the whole I'm going to withhold this and $1 billion and now it's like. I don't know. It's like watching WWE.
It's getting to that, like, it's getting into the idiocracy point of like the politics is just becoming a joke. Like it's honestly like, you got to be shitting me. Hey, should we allow witnesses in this impeachment trial or not? Like, why fucking not?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you allow witnesses?
I honestly call witnesses that don't even matter to the whole thing.
Call the Domino's pizza delivery guy who gave him.
I want to hear from this guy.
Yeah, call whoever you can to make sure that this guy didn't do any crimes against the United States.
Right.
Like, and like the Republicans, like, no, we don't want any witnesses. And it's like, well,
see, and that's bullshit. Because I was kind of hoping the Republicans would say,
bring them on.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
If you got nothing to hide.
There's nothing going on here.
And then, now legally it doesn't pertain to the investigation and the trial, so we're not real. I mean, you're not going to call some of these people. It's like, dude, I don't care who you call to the stand.
Right.
Call anybody.
I agree.
It's
just it's one of those damn, where to me it doesn't make any sense because it's all voted along party lines, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
And so it's if you get the Republicans that are like, man, maybe we should have these witnesses come in. You know something happened. Like something went wrong.
Something went wrong. Yeah. And then you're thinking about the other thing was like I think we've watched too many movies in our lives where you have this big build up 2 hours and then at the very end it's like, oh, you're like, no, this guy was the bad guy, and you're like, and everyone believes it, and then this one the hero has this recording of the guy confessing to the crime, and then the next scene you see is that the bad guy's in jail and everyone's free, and then the credits.
Right.
And like I think that's what people picture in real life. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like the whole Russia thing, people still believe that the Russia thing happened, even though it was said that no, it wasn't really a thing. But then it's like, okay, well now this is a thing. I think you could do either way. Either side, if it came out that sure enough, Trump wrote and said, I am trying to do this, Republicans would be like, hey, it's just Trump.
Yeah.
That's just what he does.
Classic Donald.
Right?
Classic Donald.
And then the other side, if it was like, yeah, no, really, Schiff made up most of this stuff and kind of got it. And then the Democrats would be like, but you still support this weirdo Trump? I mean, come on. You guys, and it's not ever going to be like everyone's ever going to be on the same page.
No, never. I just, at this point, it's just, what the hell? I don't even know what to do anymore. It's just, hey, you know what? I would love it if they came out and were like, no, like we've done the research, we called the witnesses,
right?
We've done the trial, we have found that Trump did nothing wrong here. I would love that more than anything. I think he's done some cool things,
right?
And as much as you like the guy personally or not, he's taking some stands on things that other past presidents have been afraid to,
right?
So there's nothing more I'd like to see than him be completely acquitted of this, but he's still a creepy guy, and just like you talk about girl dad and all that, like how he views women and what's come out from that, it's like, man, that's a little bit out there for me, especially in that position, right. Like. Maybe you should calm that down a bit. So, I don't know. I just, at the end of this thing, if it comes out that he was acquitted and nothing wrong, cool. If it's he did something wrong, then let's impeach him and move on. I'm just tired of it at this point.
Me too. And then, but you're like, is the presidency ever going to be what it was?
After this, I don't think so.
You're
going to get, who's going to be the next president? It's like Dwayne Johnson or Kevin Hart or somebody who makes you laugh.
I would do that. I'd vote there at this point. But Trump makes me laugh. I got to be honest. His tweets.
Oh,
I'm like,
me too.
I mean, like he's said some things where I've laughed because I'm like, I can't believe he just said that. To things that were like, that's actually kind of like he's just trolling.
It's just a troll. Like
he's just trolling.
Look at this photograph.
Shifty Adam Schiff, or he's got all these different nicknames. Sleepy Nancy Pelosi and.
Yeah, I mean he is
Creepy Joe.
Oh, dude. So funny. It is. But the guy is it's embarrassing. You know that guy at work, you're like, if you got the board coming in like you do, and you're like, okay, we can have anybody talk but this guy.
I just had that happen.
Right? Like
at my work.
Anybody else, like you guys are good, you just please don't say anything or ask any questions.
Right.
That would be Trump in any landscape right now. And he's the guy representing our entire country. It's like whatever you do, don't have a drink and talk about women. Just don't do it.
Yeah. This is the last person we want talking. And he just waltz right in. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I think I'm that guy. Do you, were you ever that guy or have you always been trusted?
No, I don't know. I think if you're that guy, you don't really know you're that guy though.
Until later on in life.
Well, no, I didn't even think the person that comes to my mind is someone who doesn't know that people are like, whenever they talk to like, oh no, like what's going to come out of his mouth now, right? Yeah. But he doesn't know because he keeps talking. And so you're like, just stop.
Yeah. Well, as that guy, I am that guy. And I've been, I've seen the faces and you're like, here's what you do though. I'm the guy that's like, why? Like I've had friends go, please stop. Please stop. Don't say anything more. But I want to show them that I'm in control and that I'm really good. So I'm like, oh, you think this is a total, this is getting terrible? Right. Watch this. I'm going to pull this thing out. Because I feel the same thing you're feeling right now. I can feel the vibe. I'm sliding downhill. I'm digging that ditch. But watch me dig myself out of this ditch. And then I never do.
Well, the problem, so like, yeah, I had a peer at work who was like that. Like our old director hired this person, and they had a big job, and they were representing a big statement of work to like stakeholders, internal stakeholders. And whenever they would talk, you would just be like, oh my God, like you just mischaracterized, or you said that wrong, or you did, like, and it would just, every single time you were just like on the edge of your seat, like, oh, what's he going to say? What do we have to do damage control on? Like, what do we have to, every single time.
I wonder if that's how Trump is that person though. It's like, oh yeah, no, I got this.
Are you not on the edge of your seat every time he speaks?
Oh,
like,
dude.
What is he going to say?
Speaking is one thing, doing is another. That whole Iran thing, it's like, okay, I can understand some like 3 a.m. tweets at these people, but like then the Iran thing, I'm like, and then when Iran's like, yeah, we're going to blow up Dubai if you guys do anything else. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am watching
World War III happen.
Yeah. And then and they were like, then they came out and he kind of like did the whole, all right, well, we like pat himself on the back. We did what we wanted to do, and we're just going to leave it at that. Like it was like.
How about his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, when they come out with their Middle East
Palestine
peace treaty thing that they wanted, peace plan?
Yeah.
And Jared Kushner is like the guy who's like, no, I read 25 books in this conflict. I know what's going on. And it's like, you read 25 books? And now everything on Twitter is like, yeah, I read 25 books on knitting. I still can't knit a fucking sweater. Like, this guy's out here like, no, I read these books. I'm good. I got it. I'll write this policy for you. It's like, dude, what the hell is going on over here?
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's like Revelation nuts. It's like the book of Revelation where they talk about the beast and how he was loud and he was boisterous and he did all these things. And then for 42 months, he was able to rule on earth. And then it was like, you start doing the math and you're like, dude, that's like 3.5 years. And Trump could be impeached by July. Right. And then you're also looking at like where they've always said that there's like the tribulation where you have the pre-trib. Basically, there's going to be 7 years. The first 3.5 years are peace, and then it's going to be 3.5 years of judgment and no peace at all.
Yeah.
And that's where the books from what are those back in the day when we were like in high school, getting out of high school, college, it was like Left Behind. When all those Left Behind books came out, that's what they were writing about, was when all those people just disappear, there's the rapture, and then now life is doing its thing.
Right.
And so then I'm like watching the thing yesterday, or I'm on Twitter or whatever, and it says Trump comes out with like he's going to give his pushing for Palestine to have their capital in West Jerusalem and kind of give them this state. And I'm like, and it's a 4-year pact. And I'm like, is Kirk Cameron supposed to come out now? Like, is this Left Behind?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So weird stuff, but weirder stuff. We're talking about south of the border type things. I don't know where the equator lands on the whole Mid East and Israel and all that. But let's talk about your south of the border. You had a scare.
I did.
You had a something going on. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, so what I'll tell you is all the men out there, and we had another buddy who went through this too, but his ended up being, positive in the test.
Yeah.
But self-checks, man. Take care of your south of the border down there.
Your Israel and Palestine.
Yeah. Thought I had a problem and had to go through a whole series of uncomfortable tests. So I had to go, doctor had to get checked there.
Okay.
Which one was like, yeah, there's definitely.
So when they check you,
yeah.
Do they have to tape you to your belly button?
I wish. I wish that was the case. So super awkward. I had to go to a doctor that I've never been to before.
Okay.
And so I'm like going in there like, hey, this is a problem.
Male or female?
Male doctor.
Okay.
Male doctor. So I go in there. I'm like, hey, having these problems, whatever. He asked me a million questions. Yeah, like his ache in my abdomen and all this stuff, and he asked me a million questions, and I say, well, gonna have to check you now, and so like for those who don't know, like I had a vasectomy like 3.5 years ago,
a brutal one,
botched in a bad way, like in a bad way.
You sent pictures to everybody. You're like, is this normal?
It was bad. It was like a solid 3-month recovery before I could raise my hands above my head again. Like it was bad. So I have all this stuff going on. And I'm like, maybe it's just that, but you know, like just definitely some stuff happened. So I go in there and he's like, okay, well, ask him this question. He's like, hey, I gotta check. So can you just stand up and just drop your pants and whatever? And so I'm like, okay. So stand up. I drop my pants, and the other thing that as a result of that surgery was, so he's like, well, like one of the questions is like, are you swollen or anything, you know? And he's like, is your scrotum swollen?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And I've dropped my pants, and he like is taken aback, and he's like, look, I've never seen your scrotum before, but those look swollen to me. And like, that's a problem. So I was like, oh, I don't know at this point, like what's going on. I have these problems. Mm-hmm. It's been 3 years.
Right.
Maybe I just got used to it.
You thought it was a new norm.
I just got used to it. Yeah. And so he does this checking. He's like, yeah, we're going to send you off. We got to get an ultrasound. There's something there. We just got to find out what it is. So this is where it the story gets more awkward.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay. So get a call a day later. Want to schedule this thing. It's the next day. And so I go to the hospital here in town. I check in. And I don't know like what I'm expecting here. So I call our other buddy who went through it. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I up against here?
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, here's what's going to happen. So I get in there, and of course it's a woman ultrasound tech, which isn't a big deal, but it is. And so I get in her room, and she's like, okay, lay down on this bed.
Wait. So this is a female now.
This is a female.
Younger or older than you?
I probably
Same
close
age.
to my age, yeah.
Okay, and you don't know her.
Don't know her. Thank goodness.
Where was this at?
Enum Hospital.
Oh, okay.
So
all
there's
right.
good
chance that could have been
right,
someone
I knew. So anyway, so I get in there, and she's like, okay, lay down on the bed, take your clothes off.
Is anyone in the room with you?
Just us two.
Okay. Okay.
It's very uncomfortable.
Already.
And so she leaves. I take off my pants and everything. I lay down on this bed with a sheet over me, and she comes in. She hands you a towel, and she's like, well, just grab your penis and just hold it in this
I guess we're just saying words now. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And just hold it up against your body with this towel.
Yeah.
I'll never see it or whatever. I'm like, oh, cool.
Okay.
So I get this towel, and
Is it a warm,
it's just like a
moist, warm towel?
No, just
like a spa?
Yeah. Just making me feel better about myself at this point because I'm terrified. So I'm sitting there holding this towel,
just full on terrified shrinkage going,
dude. The worst. Yeah,
they're like, oh, I guess we don't need a towel. Anyone got a washcloth?
Yeah,
it's just a washcloth for this size right now.
Well, I see the problem here. You actually have no penis. This is an issue. No, so I'm holding this towel up, right, and it's just your balls just hanging out. Just like on top of your legs.
Yeah, just chilling.
And she's like,
just
I'm going
resting.
to put this gel on it. And just puts this gel on it. And it starts rubbing this wand around him.
Like an ultrasound
Like
a
wand.
baby ultrasound.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so for 10 or 12 minutes, I'm laying back and she's just...
Are you still in pain, though? Is there still pain going on?
It's only pain at certain times.
Yeah.
So not a lot of pain.
Do your heartbeat? You hear whoa, whoa,
You
whoa,
do.
whoa.
They actually do that. Yeah, it's funny. So I'm like, man, I didn't know that. So anyway, get done with that test, and then I'm waiting for the results because that's like what's going to tell you if you.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask what everyone's asking right now. Okay. You just had your balls massaged in like a lotioned oil. Was it a relaxing? Was it a little relaxed? Were you now at this point a little relaxed?
No, it's not because it's like a cold wand just dragging across there for 12 minutes. It's like the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Okay, I can see that now.
Yeah, and so get done with that, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna step out. You get dressed or whatever. And she comes back in and says, the results will be here in a day or two at the most.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm waiting for these results to get in. The doctor calls and he's like, hey, good news, not cancer. Not so great news. There's definitely something going on down there that we have to have you go to the urologist to get checked out. And I need you to come in and give some blood and a urine sample. And I'm like, okay.
Well, at first, like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm like, at first, like, okay, cool. And then it's like, well, what do you need all this stuff for? And so
you're pregnant.
Right. So I go in there and I talk to him and I'm like, okay. He's like, I just want to do a normal blood panel on you. Right. I'm going to add HIV as one of the test parameters. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Like, that's weird. And then I'm like, well, why do you need a urine sample? And he's like, well, I'm going to test you for chlamydia, gonorrhea, like all these STDs. And I'm like I've been married for 15 years.
Right.
Like, if I have anything going on down there, I got to go talk to my wife because
it ain't me.
It ain't me. Right? Like, I've got to go talk to Katie. Like, hey, what's going on here?
You start thinking about CD a little bit. And you're like, maybe those weren't jokes.
Yeah, right. All those jokes that our friends have, maybe that's real life. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, go to get blood drawn, and there is a fairly attractive tech who's there taking my blood and giving me the cup. She was like, she's pretty attractive. Right. I'm like, okay. So, she sits me down to take blood, and she's talking about, just making small talk, whatever. And I'm talking to her, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, so what are you getting tested for? And I'm like,
every STD.
I was like, well, he wants to do a normal blood panel and whatever and look for HIV. I don't know. And she looks at me kind of weird, and then she's like, well, what about the urine? And I'm like, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and something else. And she looks at me and just goes like this most disgusted look. And I was like, I don't
have this.
Yeah, I have
this
none
is
of
a Seinfeld moment.
Yeah,
no, it's like George. It's shrinkage.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was cold.
But I felt like such a creep. I was like, I don't have anything. Like 2 days later, the test results come. I was like, yeah, you don't have any of that. And I was like, well, that's awesome.
I already knew that.
Yeah, at this point,
you killed this shot though.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
C-blocked me.
Could you send this to her? Yeah. Could you send these results to her now?
I'm gonna walk in there. So these came back.
Yeah. You see that?
It's all negative.
Yeah. I'm still not going to do anything. I'm not interested at all. But I want you to know I'm not a creep.
Exactly.
Jeez.
It was so like just this mounting awkwardness of tests and just still have to go
get it drained.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, there's some kind of I don't even know what they got to do. So
yeah,
I'll learn more from the actual urologist, I guess, when I get there.
That's
dude, getting old sucks, man.
Yeah,
this is just like one of the things, and soon enough you're gonna be getting prostate checks and.
Well, I almost
did you get one?
Okay, so here's the TMI episode. I got a ball story for you too. When I was a teenager, I'm like, when will I ever tell this story? This is a good story.
Did you have torsion?
What's that?
Like when you're?
Did I tell you? I told you the story.
No, but that's what he was worried about with me. He's like, maybe you have torsion. He's like, no, if you had torsion, you'd be on the ground like crying.
He thought I had they thought I had a twisted testicle.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So when I was a teenager, I'm sitting there. Just they hurt so bad. They hurt so bad to even like when you can feel your own pulse in your ball sack. You're just like you're sitting there. If you want to, you don't really need to. You run a little bit, you get that blood flowing, and then when you're sitting down, you don't have to do the whole finger thing to the neck to kind of count what your beats are. All you have to do is just sit there and just feel your balls just throbbing. Like, all right, that's okay.
Yeah, pretty 62 this minute. That's fairly good resting heart rate.
That's where I was at like 13 years old, 14 years old. New to this puberty thing, don't really know what's going on. And so I'm at the dinner table after a couple days of just full on pain. And so I told I'm at dinner and I'm like, guys, it's me, my brother, my dad, and my mom, just typical family dinner, just sitting around. Yep. And TV's off, all that whole thing, and heard about the day. And now it's time for the kids to kind of be able to share their stories. And I'm like, my balls hurt. Like, I don't know what I'm like. I've got a pain down in that area. And my mom's like, what area? And I'm like, guy area. And she's like, Rick. And Rick's like, my dad's like full, like, and still mouth is full eating. And she's like, could you go take a look at him you should go take a look at him. And he's just like, okay. And she's like, you should go take a look at it though. And he's like, okay. Now? Like, you want me to do it right now? Like, he's still trying to eat his dinner, and I'm like, please, because I'm in so much pain. So we go into the bathroom and drop trowel, and he's like, kind of like looking at it, and he goes, I'm doing the same thing, lifting so you can see the balls, and he's like, I don't know, I'm looking at it here, yeah, everything's fine. I don't know, we'll just go to the doctor. So we went to the doctor and scheduled an appointment. I get there. My dad's there with me. Go into the room. Hot nurse, man. Hot nurse comes in, and I'm like, this sucks. So I'm laying there. Pants are off. I got the gown on and everything. And I'm laying there, and she lifts my gown up, and I'm like, this is not going to go well. Like, I already know this is not going to go well. Like, if she just like lays a finger on there and how attractive she is, my dad's in the room, and so I'm just like, hopefully I don't start popping some boners, and so
NRBs anyway.
Oh man, and so she grabs them and squeezes the shit out of them, so much so where I'm like there's anything where I thought I was going to get a boner, like that was out of my mind. Like I'm not getting a boner for the rest of my life. Like she squeezed those things so friggin' hard and just crushed them. Just feeling around. It's just, oh man. And I'm at this point, like I'm seeing stars, like I'm seeing like dots, like I'm ready to pass out. It hurts so bad. She puts my gown back down, walks out the door. And I'm just like laying there, just like sweating, barely breathing, just like ready to poop my pants. And, and so in walks she brings like 3 to 4 other people, like adults, like doctors and nurses. And she lifts the gown, and they all stand around, and they're all staring down at my junk. And she's like, well, I was thinking, and she's like poking it. And then this other guy, he's got gloves, he's poking it. So it turns into this like gangbang of poking my balls of all these people just poking and squeezing. And I'm surprised I didn't immediately go jump into the highway. But they are like, at the end of that whole like terrible ordeal, they're like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Probably just thought it was twisted. It doesn't seem twisted. I don't know. You're just in pain. You got to deal with it. If it keeps up in another month or so, come back. And that was it. And so I'm like, okay. That was the most traumatic experience of my life. Just to be told, like, I don't know.
Just squeeze it and poke it.
They didn't disintegrate into our fingers.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, no. And then and then getting old sucks. I thought I'd have to go. I almost thought I had to go do a prostate exam, but this is where I feel about medicine, doctors. Everything seems, like these things have a way of working themselves out. That's how I feel. Like there's a point. Like there's a point.
You don't want to go to the doctor.
No,
like,
I hate
it'll go by.
I'm like, you know what? It'll probably. Body's an amazing machine.
Scientifically, is it Marvel? So we still understand it. It's so great.
So these doctors, what do these guys know?
Yeah,
they don't know my body. I know my body. My body, even though it's giving these signs and things. See, that's the thing. I don't go to the doctor. Probably because last time I went, they beat the shit out of my balls and said, "We don't know."
Just abused you.
Oh man, just hurt. It still hurts.
Oh god,
it still hurts. It does. I can still
20 years later.
Oh
still
man,
killing
I can
me.
still feel the just pain and anguish. Just picture yourself putting your balls in a vice and just running that arm until it just tightens all the way down, and then take a hammer and start smashing against it even more. That's where I was at.
That was like part of my vasectomy when the guy botched it, because I have a tolerance to Novocaine. Like,
oh really?
When I go to the dentist, they have to pump me up with like extra, because I can feel, like, if you just give me the normal dosage, I can feel everything.
Wow.
I didn't know that was the local they used.
You went to the local for your, and this is why your vasectomy.
I told him I wanted an espresso. Next thing I know,
let me just doctors in the back. Went to the local.
No, the local anesthesia, like the what they give you for to numb it. the local at the doctor.
And they just threw hot scalding coffee on it and said, that probably boiled all your semen. You're good.
Oh, God. That's how I ended up in jail. So next story. So anyway, the doctor, he gives me shots of this in my bag. And he's like, okay, I'm going to cut now. And he cut, and I'm like, yeah, feel that. Like, all of that. And he's like, give me more. Tells his nurse, like, go get more, blah, blah, blah. He like, shoots me up with a bunch more. I'm like, oh, that feels a little bit better. Well, when I walked in, this is the creepiest thing. When I walked in there, they gave me, like, they put this grounding pad on my side, like, to ground me to, like, the table. And I'm like, what is that for? I'm like, oh, we use an electric knife when we cut the little tube. So
you can scald it while you...
It cauterizes as we cut. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't really think anything of it. Now I tell everybody, and they're like, they did what?
Right.
So anyway, so I'm sitting there, and he cuts, and I feel it, and I'm like, give me more stuff. They give me more stuff. And he starts giving me like 5 minutes for stuff to sit in. And he's like, at this point, just like testing if I'm numb or not. So he's like down there rooting around. And I'm like, ooh, like I'm gonna puke. He's like, I'm like off, jumping on the table, like, and he's like, oh, he's not numb enough. Bring more. They just pump me full of more. And so finally, he's like, I'm like, okay, I think I'm okay. I don't think I feel you rooting around there anymore. I feel it like up in my stomach, but it's not painful. It just feels like you're tugging on stuff or whatever. And so he's like, okay, well, they must have clamped the tube or whatever, and they took that knife,
and left it in there,
and left all their gloves and everything in there. It's not actually swollen. It's just packed full of supplies.
This is what we do. Body takes care of this. Don't worry. You'll piss us out in the morning.
It's an amazing machine. So he hits like me with that knife, and it felt like somebody took like a 25-pound weight and just dropped it repeatedly. I mean, I was rolling over in pain. I'm like, I'm going to throw up. And he's like, oh, give him more stuff. And I'm like, dude, it's too late. Like, I'm literally rolling over, like, off the table, getting ready to puke. This is 45 minutes into a 10-minute procedure.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, brutal. It was the worst thing ever.
You know, actually, I remember seeing you in the doctor's office. Me and Jamie went to that same place.
Oh, did you?
For our ultrasound when Jamie was pregnant.
Oh.
And you were there.
Oh.
And you were there for and I'm like, what are you here for? And you're like, oh, so I don't have to go visiting what you're visiting. Yeah. and so, yeah.
Dude, worst pain ever. Hands down.
Do you have to do it again?
What?
Like...
No, so I had all these complications, so I go back into the doctor, and they're like, oh, well, we must have missed one of the blood vessels or whatever that we cut, and it was just been bleeding out into yourself for 3 weeks. And I was like, what? And he's like, oh, it's healed now. I'm like...
Did they check?
Well, no, they just like, oh, it's scouted up by now. So
I kind of want you to sue these people.
Dude, it was brutal.
If you go back to this thing and they say, because they probably have to look at it.
Yeah, they're going to have to, for sure.
And then they're going to say, this was the worst job we've ever seen.
I probably could go,
sue. Malpractice.
It was honestly traumatic.
What if you found out that guy just skipped that day? Like, he did everything else. He's like, I probably won't be... We'll go out to Enumclaw. Not many guys are going to give vasectomies. I could probably watch a YouTube video on this, and then...
well, the funny thing is, I was telling this new doctor who was checking me out, and I was like, he's new to Enumclaw. And he's like, he's like, well, have you had any surgeries? I'm like, well, I had a vasectomy like 3 years ago. And he goes, well, was it here? Like, who did it? And I was like, he said, I forgot his name. It's been so long. But he's a general surgeon in town. And he just goes, I don't know if he say his name, but he goes, Lenny. And I go, yep. And he goes, just shakes his head. And I was like,
he knew.
Yeah. I was like, oh, great.
We knew immediately.
Yeah.
Appreciate you using my nickname for that.
Well, I didn't want to.
Very cool of you.
I'd probably get sued for like defamation or something.
Yeah, thanks for using that. Yeah. Appreciate that. that Lenny, the ball surgeon.
You could have probably done as good or a better job just by watching YouTube.
I might just do that. We might have our own podcast called Lenny the Ball Surgeon, and then maybe CD will come to that one.
Oh gosh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, so the moral of the story: guys in your 30s, mid 30s,
just pull out.
Just check. just check yourself. I don't know if cancer has anything to do with pulling out. But.
Yeah, I don't know either. And also, when you do get checked, like ask someone who's done it before, and they recommend a surgeon.
Yeah, go to the guy who does. That's all that they do for a living.
Right.
Like all they do is vasectomies.
This guy's like, I usually just I'm the guy that takes a little bit of the intestine out, but then I sew it back together. Use this cauterizer thing.
Right. Yeah, it was insane.
You could probably do your balls.
Well, I'm glad that everybody in Enumclaw knows about my
Mike's balls. So Emily Bort, when you see Mike, I want you to walk up and I want you to say, "Dude, heard about so much about you on the podcast yesterday." So,
oh my gosh, yeah, I love how it comes back to the one. That was my elbow.
I thought someone just slammed the door. Okay,
the one person I said, "Oh yeah," they text me or messaged me and said, "Oh, they like the podcast." Now it's just everything is.
Well, that's because
Well, and this person also
said it to somebody else,
the other person, which is hilarious.
Good. Yeah. I'm good with that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. We got a little TMI with TK and MM. If you have any questions for us or want us to talk about other parts of our bodies that we've experienced pain with, or you want to share your stories of times where you've had a bad surgery, and just by chance, if you had some doctor either castrate you or beat the shit out of your balls, we want to hear those stories too.
And we'll have a support group immediately following the podcast.
Yeah. Ball syndrome. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great week.